Hello traders, this is day number 89 of Small Cap Market Open Test Trading. We have taken 92 trades so far. We have 8 more to go before we complete this test. Today marks the end of a 2-week period that I traded every single day, or looked for trades every single day, I should say. We were only triggered to trade 2 days out of those 10 days, which is crazy because that never happened in 2021. We were trading the exact same plan since mid-September of 2021. And occasionally we would have 1 or 2 no trade days a week, but never 1 or 2 trades per 2 weeks. I mean, this is really unheard of. And I think it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of what the market is doing and the way the market is kind of congealing or not with our trading plan. So let's take a look at the small cap screener. This is how I choose my stocks to trade every single day. And you can see SIGA once again was the #1 traded stock on the small cap screener, and I was looking for it to break out over its previous high, and it did not. I'll show you that on the chart. It looked like it was kind of teasing us there, and now it has. Okay, so here we go. So this would actually trigger a trade had it happened before 10:30. But my trading plan says specifically to stop trading at 10:30 for so many reasons, not because a trade can't possibly work out after 10:30, but generally, in my experience, I have about an hour of time that I'm willing to put in to the market, and after that, if I haven't been triggered into taking a trade, then I tend to get frustrated and can break my plan, and all sorts of things can happen once I stay watching the charts for more than an hour. So that's where that line comes from, and this may end up being a good trade or a 2 or 3 hour trade after this. This still hasn't triggered a trade yet, by the way. These lines were placed on the chart arbitrarily, and they don't mean anything at this point. If we were, let's say, for example, that this was happening before 10:30, I would still be placing this line and waiting for this one to get hit. Who knows where that's going to end up being, but this is just the beginning of the first ABCD pattern after breaking through the previous high. So it's kind of interesting. This is unfolding live as I'm making this video, but we can't take a trade on something like this. So this actually counts as a pullback here. I'm just going to put these out here anyway, just for fun. And we can see if this thing does give a 2 hour trade or 3 hour trade. And I'm sure there will be some people out there that will say, well, you know, this is why you shouldn't stop right at 10:30. That's so arbitrary and so silly. And I totally get that argument. But on the flip side, this is the exception to the rule. And if you look back at my spreadsheet, we're not going to look at it today, but I've shown it so many times. If you look back at my spreadsheet in 2021, triggered to take so many trades in that first hour of the market. So if the strength and energy in the market is not there during the first hour, it's much less likely to be there later on. So that is all a part of that whole stopping at 10:30 scenario. So anyway, this is just the exception to the rule. We're seeing it play out here live. We'll see if we get triggered to take a trade, a theoretical trade. Obviously, we can't trade because it's after 10:30. But anyway, this is what we were watching today. Let's look at it on the daily chart. You can see that it's above the 200 MA. And yesterday it had kind of almost a doji candle form. So I'm sure there were not a lot of people expecting it to break out, but we were watching it because it met our screener criteria, and it just didn't break out above those levels before 10:30. So anyway, it really doesn't matter what happens at this point. If it triggers a trade and works, or triggers a trade and fails, there's no like, oh, I told you so, or see, I could have made an easy trade, because this is outside of the trading plan. This is outside of the strategy. The trading plan is only written for the first hour of the market. So all of our data is for the first hour of the market. If we do anything outside of that time, those statistics are absolutely meaningless. So hopefully that makes sense to you. You know, the thing about the stock market is there's a lot of variables, right? So the more you can control the variables and the less variables that you're working with, the more likely you are to develop a plan and a strategy that's based on statistics. So, but again, you have to stay within those variables. You can't change them from day to day. Otherwise, if I took a trade right now and this trade worked out, that data would not mean anything for us. So anyway, but we can, I mean, I've got my stuff up. I'm not going to take a trade, obviously, but we can kind of pretend. So the entry would have been for the break of this 1 minute candle. So 996 would have been our ideal entry, and the stop loss would have been at 985. So let's throw out some lines. Again, this is all happening live, just doing this for fun. Since we didn't get to take a trade, we can kind of pretend a trade here. So 985, and then the high was 995. So again, it's very unlikely we would have gotten our ideal entry, because I bet a lot of people were waiting for that breakout. So this is going to overlap one of our other lines. And there's my price alert. Wow, that was, oh, that must have been from yesterday. No, it says today. It's strange. Anyway, so let's take a look at, actually, I'm going to put a green line here out on the chart where we would have entered. And we can use the XR calculator to calculate the profit target. So 996, again, that'd be ideal. We probably would not have gotten that, 985. And if we were going for a 2R profit target, the profit target would be 1018. Did it hit it on this one? Yeah, so we would have, it would have been a one and done trade for 2R, but it has to go to 3R to really be meaningful, which it can do that, you know, depends. We'll see. Let's see where 3R profit target is. So 1018 was 2R, 1029. So it's not that far from that right now. So this is the way the market kind of messes with your head and teases you. Something like this, especially if you're a newer trader, if this thing goes to 3R, will make you think, well, then the next time this happens, I just need to give it a few more minutes and see if the thing plays out, and maybe extend to 1045. Well, guess what? The next 3 or 4 or 5 times that this happens, you're going to get triggered to take a trade. It's going to fail. I can almost guarantee that scenario. And then you're going to say, well, dang it, I should have stuck to my plan. I shouldn't have changed anything just because of that one trade with SIGA. So the longer that you're trading in the markets, the more you're going to see these little games play out in front of your face, and it's going to be like the market is trying to tell you something. But remember, the market doesn't care about you. The market just kind of does what it does, and it's our job to kind of come up with a plan, to come up with a strategy, to come up with boundaries, and stay within those boundaries. Otherwise, everything we're doing has absolutely no meaning. So anyway, this video obviously went on a rant, I guess, because of what happened with SIGA. But hopefully it was interesting. Hopefully you learned something. If there's anything to take away here, it's to stick to the plan. Even though things like this are going to happen occasionally, you can't let them sway you. You can't let them change the way that you trade just because of a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 20 trade that, oh, I missed that trade just by a few minutes. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. This is about the long run. This one single trade, it means absolutely nothing. So as I said, we've collected 92 trades so far within this strategy, within these boundaries, and we have statistical data from those 92 trades showing that we would be up 17 times our risk had we held till 3R on every single trade. And that's what we're going to do as soon as we finish this test. We're going to hold every single trade till 3R, and we're going to be tracking 4R and 5R and 2R as well, just in case there's a shift and 2R ends up becoming more profitable, which is unlikely. But anyway, it's good to track that data. And there's a few other data points that we haven't been tracking that we're going to start looking at when we go full position size. So anyway, I feel like I want to wrap this up, even though this thing might hit that 3R profit target in just a moment. Remember, if we were actually getting into this trade, we probably would have not gotten that ideal entry, so we would need a few cents more, but it looks like it's going to get that pretty easily. So anyway, we could check this out, and if I stop the video before this thing hits, then you guys can always open up the chart and see what happens. But there's 1028. We're 1 cent. There we go. 1029. It's such a bounce that, yeah, there we go. So this thing would have easily hit 3R. But again, it would have been a break of our plan, a break of our rules. So it's always better to stick to your plan, to stick to your strategy, and miss a trade. Again, we didn't miss this by definition because we're not allowed to take the trade before or after 10:30, I should say. So, but I'm sure some of you are going to look at this and say, oh, look, you missed a good trade. And my argument is, no, I didn't, because I'm only trading from 9:30 to 10:30, and that's it. So this is the kind of discipline that's gotten me this far, that's gotten me to 92 trades and showing 17R profitability on this plan and this strategy. If I start letting the market tease me and kind of make me sway and change my rules and change my strategy, then all of that profit will be wiped away. So it is what it is, and you just have to watch these go by sometimes. So hopefully the message is clear and hasn't gotten too convoluted toward the end here. As always, go into every single trade with a plan. Stick to that plan no matter what. Always take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.